Hello, welcome to my place. We are looking in Second Timothy, and today we're going to chapter 3. Let's look at verses 1 to 7. But realize this, that in the last days difficult times will come. For men will be lovers of self, lovers of money, boasting, arrogant, revilers, disobedient to parents, ungrateful, unholy, unloving, irreconcilable, malicious gossips, without self control, brutal, haters of good, treacherous, reckless, conceited, lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God, holding to a form of godliness, although they have denied its power. Avoid such men as these. For among them are those who enter into households and captivate weak women, weighed down with sin, led on by various impulses, always learning and never able to come to the knowledge of the truth. Now, in this passage are traits of ungodly actions, and I'm not going to highlight all of them today. I do want to look at a couple of phrases in this list. Verse 4 says, some people will be lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God. Now, this does not mean that we cannot have pleasure in this life, but it does mean that our priority should be on God and not on the pleasure. But I do have a secret to tell you. When you are a lover of God, there will be pleasure in life. The second phrase I would like to point out is found in verse 5. It says, holding to a form of godliness, although they have denied its power. Now, we need to be careful in our daily walks to not be so obstinate in our forms and rituals that we end up denying the power. Yes, every one of us has forms and rituals that we prefer in our walks with God. You cannot tell me that you don't have any form or ritual, because we all do. But when we start to quote unquote worship the form and ritual, that is when we get ourselves in the denial of God's power. I challenge you to change up the forms and rituals that you have gotten used to. It's a difficult thing to do. I usually find when people get upset over doing something in a different way, that it's a good indicator that they may be focused more on the form or ritual more than they are on God. Now, I'm not talking about just not liking a different way. I'm talking about actually upset and complaining about it because it's not what we've always done. In my opinion, it is similar when it comes to a change in how we think of a particular doctrine or belief. When you read the Bible or you hear a preacher and there is a difference to how you have looked at it in the past, don't just dismiss it. Study it out and find out how or why you have come to believe the way you do, and if there needs to be an adjustment. I do this quite regularly in my personal studies. The next phrase I will briefly deal with is in verse 7. Always learning, but never able to come to the knowledge of the truth. When you are holding on to your quote-unquote pet doctrines, you will never be able to come to the knowledge of the truth. You know, when I first went through what I call the cocoon back in 2011, and trust me, I've gone through many cocoons since then, I decided that I would no longer trust in the beliefs that I was taught. The reason I say it this way is because most of my doctrines that I held to before the cocoon that I had in my life, because someone told me, not because I had studied them out for myself. Now, I must say that the majority of the doctrines I have held on to, even through the cocoon, but there were others that I dropped completely because I found no basis for them. Now, I don't fault those who helped me in my walk prior to this period, because I see that they were teaching with the beliefs that they held at the time. And this brings me to my two pet sayings that I have mentioned here many times. Do you believe that what you believe is really real? And are your beliefs hiding you from the truth? We should all be learners of the word and doctrine, but we also need to make sure that we come to the knowledge of the truth. God bless you richly. We'll see you next time.